Hello, church. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm out here with the big dummy Garm. Garm, you want to say hello? Good boy. What a good doggy. He's having a good day today. Anyways, today I thought I'd talk about mean dogs. Mean dogs who like to bite and bark and snarl and show their teeth and all those good things, right? So now, I've been working with dogs every day for about past 8 years, 9 years, something like that. Now, one thing you'll hear from dog owners or people who don't own dogs and don't like dogs is that a dog is aggressive, okay? Now, aggressive is a big term that people use when they see certain things. So, when they see a dog growl or show his teeth or lunge while they're on the leash or put his hackles up, anything like that, they will put into the realm of aggressive or mean or bad or whatever you want to call it. Now, in my 10 years or 9 years, whatever you want to call that, I've probably met 5 dogs who were truly aggressive, that they wanted to bite. They got joy out of intimidating things, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do for them without medication or intense behavioral training. Now, those are the outliers, but yet we still have hundreds of thousands of dogs in the shelters that are labeled aggressive. Okay, they'll have a little red mark on their tag, or they'll say, do not bring around other dogs. 90% of the time, this is because they've read signals the wrong way. So they see teeth and snarling and biting. Well, those are behaviors of an aggressive dog, but those behaviors do not make a dog aggressive. Let me explain. So, this big dummy that I'm with today, he's giant. He's like 170 pounds. And his brain is like a 7-year-old. Let me show you again. And remember, the ball he's next to is a basketball, and he carries it around in his mouth. Come here. Come to me. No, not having it today? Nah, not listening. Anyways, he's a big boy. Now, this guy, if something runs, he's going to chase it and kill it. He's got a high prey drive. That's not the same as being aggressive. He doesn't want to kill the thing that he's chasing. He gets so excited that he does kill it. When a dog shows you their teeth or snarls and put their hackles up and growls at you, you have a couple options. You can retreat or you can stay. 99% of the time, what the human does is the dog growls, puts his hackles up, gets tense. The human walks away and leaves because they're scared, which obviously no one wants to get bit by a doggy. But here's part of the problem. The dog put his hackles up and showed you his teeth and growled at you, probably because he didn't know who you were or what you were doing. So in his mind he thought, okay, this thing is unknown. It could be dangerous. So let's see if I can get it to go away from us. So he growls and he snaps and he snarls, puts his hackles up, and then you go away because you're scared. Do you know what you teach him? The next time you're scared, put your hackles up and growl and show your teeth, and the scary thing will go away. When you have to rehabilitate one of these dogs, one of the things you have to do is just go get in the kennel with it. That's a scary thing to do. When you have to open the kennel door, knowing this dog has bit other people, other dogs, and he doesn't like anything, And the world's given up on him. They're saying he's not fixable. So what you do is you enter the kennel. But you don't enter this way, because look how big I look. Instead, you enter this way. Unfortunately, I look almost the same size, but you enter sideways. Entering sideways makes your profile look smaller. Then you have to sit there quietly, in silence. Don't touch him. Don't look at him. Don't talk to him. He has to adjust to your presence. One of the things that usually happens when they have to adjust is they'll bite you. Because what they're testing is, if I bite you, are you going to go away like the rest of the people go away? Because most of the time after a person gets bit, they immediately leave the situation. And again, what this tells the dog is, if I ever want someone to leave, I'm going to bite them, because then they leave. So I know this is 6 minutes of dog stuff. I'm getting to the Christian part. So, in my life, I've only met about 5 or 6 people that I thought evil. Absolutely evil. On purpose. The rest of them, they're doing mean and evil things because they're afraid. They're afraid. They're afraid of what could happen. They're afraid of how vulnerable they might be if they stop growling, if they stop showing their teeth. So, much like anything, you got a couple options with this, okay? If the dog is not willing to let go of his ability to bite and take my leash, then he stays in the shelter. There was one dog I went back for 6 months, twice a week. He never made it out of the shelter. Now he lives in that shelter and he's fine there, but just like you and I know, dogs living in shelters are not the same as a dog living his full life, like this guy out here. So you sit there and get bit. Might be 2 or 3 times. He might growl at you. If you sit for long enough, eventually he'll smell you and he'll lick you. And then you can put the leash on the ground and let him smell that. And after a while, he may let you put that leash on. Now, it doesn't fix all of his problems, but what it lets you know is he's not aggressive. He was afraid. He was afraid, and that's why he showed traits of an aggressive dog. Church, I want you to think about yourselves, because I have to do this with myself. Men, when your wife comes in and says, hey, me and you need to talk about this aspect of your behavior, do your hackles go up? Do you start showing your teeth? If so, welcome to the shelter. If any time you're presented with something that you should work on, if you become defensive and lash out at those around you, well, welcome to the shelter. If you're not willing to just take a step back and realize that your fears might not be justified, welcome to the shelter. If you're not willing to take the leash of the one who will sit there and try to get you to calm down, well, welcome to the shelter. If instead you're willing to take the leash of your master and stop displaying traits that aggressive dogs display, well, welcome to the dog park, because it gets better after that. If you're defensive, if you know your hackles go up over certain subjects, maybe it's how much you drink, maybe it's how much money you spend, maybe it's you looking at other women, maybe it's just the way you talk to your spouse and how sharp you are in discounting of them. I don't know what it is. But when someone with love says your behavior needs to change and you trust that person, just remember, you've got 2 options. Stay in the shelter or take the leash and get to the dog park. How many times have you bit Jesus while he sat there with his leash? How many wounds does he have because you will not listen? He's not going to leave the shelter without you unless you force him to. He sits there with his leash. No matter how many times you bite him, he's not getting up and walking away. You will have to walk away from him. Don't live in the shelter. There's a whole world out there when you let go of these things. He knows it. I know it. Once I stopped being so sharp, once I stopped with my anger, I was able to learn. Jesus will lead you. Quit biting his hand if he tries to put the leash on, and realize you may be living in the shelter instead of in the dog park. I love you all. Go in peace, church.